Every year, 45 million Americans try to lose weight, but only 5% succeed. Why is that? When you go online, there's over 100 diets and more information than ever before, but society seems to be getting fatter and fatter. The worst part is that everything seems to be backed by science. So what's really right? Hey, I'm Michael. I'm the #1 fitness coach for husbands, and over the past 5 years, I've been helping guys transform their bodies. They go from this to this. So I feel like I know a thing or two about losing weight. But over the past couple of years, there's been some crazy things come out, like
I lost 60 pounds doing a carnivore animal-based diet. I reversed my pre-diabetes. My blood pressure normalized. My allergies went away. My skin cleared up. I feel better than ever. Here's what's for dinner.
or
If you are struggling to lose weight, try intermittent fasting.
so it's made me genuinely curious. Is there something better out there? And if you're trying to get back in shape this year, you're trying to make a change, then make sure to like and subscribe for more, and let's get into it. So here's the problem. It seems like everybody thinks they know how to lose weight. With so much information out there, people are confused now more than ever, and they don't actually know what's true and who to trust. To solve that, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna look at 3 different diets. #1, the Mediterranean diet. Apparently it's the US News ranked #1. #2, I'm gonna look at carnivore. And #3, I'm gonna look at intermittent fasting. And I have to find a solution to this problem because 95% of people who try to lose weight fail and only 5% succeed. When you look at all the numbers, you have a higher chance of becoming a millionaire in the US than actually losing weight successfully. They're gonna see what dad does, and that's gonna tell them whether it's right or wrong. Again, I really want to compare this to what I do now with my coaching clients. They've gotten awesome results simply by eating whole foods, high protein, high fiber, and using an easy hand portioning system. So while I was doing some research, this is what I found. This is one of the first things I found. It's the best overall diets of 2025. Your goal is to long-term weight loss and eat healthy, and all these are science-backed diets that work. Now, this is where the first one is the Mediterranean diet. So what is the Mediterranean diet? And really, it's a plant-based food diet where you're eating a lot of whole grains, beans, extra virgin olive oil, and it's coming from countries in the Mediterranean. All right, they have a lot of poultry, seafood, etc. And it seems like it's super easy to follow. So just right off the bat, adherence would be easy. Second, the structure is great because you're having a lot of whole foods and there's not a lot where you can say no to. The problem that I have though is that it says here that the general Mediterranean diet consists of 40% carbs, 40% fats, and 20% protein. And here's the problem. When it comes to weight loss, specifically if you just want to lose fat, protein's going to be really important, and 20% is kind of low. So after some simple research, Mediterranean diet, great structure, however, not enough protein. Second, it's easy to adhere to. And of course, you're going to have to cut out some of your own general sweets and processed foods. And also longevity. Longevity, it's great because having whole foods and being able to pass that down to your kids and them learning some of the right things, it's important and it's easy. So overall, I'd give this a 3.5 out of 5. Now, this is where it gets tricky. Is carnivore good for weight loss? Unfortunately, this is what happens. The sad reality is that people take what they see from influencers or people on social media and automatically assume, oh, because it worked for them, it's going to work for me too. But just after some simple research, right, it just says it's a short-term weight loss plan that is difficult to sustain. And when we look at it, it makes sense. So carnivore is simply eating meat and animal-based products. That's it. No veggies, no carbohydrates, no nothing. There are some pretty alarming things. One is your LDL. Your LDL is a type of fat that is in your blood and it can lead to a lot of heart problems. So a lot of people on carnivore have high levels of LDL, and that's not a good sign. The second problem is that, do I really see my kids eating carnivore, can I actually eat carnivore for the rest of my life? Sure, am I gonna lose weight pretty fast? But what happens after I lose the weight? Because when you talk about sustainable weight loss and permanent weight loss, that's actually more important than losing it in the first place. And the other thing that people don't really see is that when it comes to carnivore, it's supposed to be an elimination diet, and you're supposed to slowly bleed things back in. So you start off eating meat, and then after a while, after you see how your body reacts, then you start adding in other foods. You're supposed to see how these things affect your body. So you start bleeding in some carbs, let's say different kinds of fruit, and now you eat meat and fruit, and then you see how that goes. And if that all goes well, then you add in other things like nuts, right? And you keep going from there until hopefully you find a good wide variety of foods that you can eat on a normal basis. You're not supposed to stick to meat forever. So in my opinion, I'm going to give carnivore a 2 out of 10 because yes, you are going to lose weight quickly. Yes, it is very simple. And especially if you're somebody that loves steak, you can just eat that all day. But that doesn't negate some of the possible health factors that you're going to get from it. And also the longevity aspect. I'm not going to give my kids just meat and expect them to just eat that all the time, because at the end of the day, as parents, as a husband, I need to lead by example for my own family. So that brings us to the last one. Is intermittent fasting effective for weight loss? And here it says yes, that it can be quite effective. So what is intermittent fasting? And simply put, it's that you are not eating foods for a certain amount of time, and another or a small window you are eating. And so one of the most popular ones is a 16-8 intermittent fast, which means that you're fasting for 16 hours and not having any foods. And in an 8-hour window, that's when you have all your foods. Now, what tends to happen when you talk about intermittent fasting is that you see a lot of celebrities or very lean people do it like this.
Mark Wahlberg is currently fasting during Lent and is looking absolutely shredded.
So I've been intermittent fasting, 18 hours no food. I got that 6-hour window to eat.
Most days he uses a fasting window, but other days he will fast for a full 24 hours or abstain from meat and take a plant-based meal replacement.
Plant-based protein, secret sauce.
But even when he does eat, the total calories seem low and he doesn't include any carbs.
So I can have one regular sized meal, I'll have fish and some vegetables, and 2 small meals that don't equal the size of a full meal. So I might have a tiny little tuna salad, I'll have some eggs, and then maybe a little smoked salmon.
I mean, you take a lot of the things that people talk about when it comes to intermittent fasting is number one, your metabolism. The best way to actually change that is to just change your overall recomposition of your body. So lose some fat, gain some muscle. And here's really the kicker that I find in my experience, is that when I talk to specifically men, they don't eat breakfast. They have a smaller lunch or have leftovers, and then dinner ends up being their biggest meal. So theoretically, they're already fasting throughout the day. So it doesn't make sense to say all of a sudden you're intermittent fasting to lose weight. If you look at it, the current habits already where you are fasting, it's making you out of shape because you end up having all these cravings in the evening. You overeat because dinner is your biggest meal and you end up not eating throughout the day. So overall, I give it a 3 out of 5 in terms of how good it is when it comes to weight loss. And here's why. First, adherence. It is fairly simple to follow because your lifestyle, especially if you're super busy, you probably already don't eat breakfast and you have coffee in the morning, right? So very simple. Structure. Nothing crazy, you just wait until a certain time. However, again, going back to that, you're already fasting and it's gotten you the results that you have now. Now, number 2, structure. There's nothing crazy. You wait till a certain time and then you eat after that time. However, going back to that, my last point, you're already probably fasting. So it doesn't make sense to just all of a sudden say you're doing something new, even though you've already been doing it and it's caused all these problems like overeating in the evening, cravings, snacking, and being tired. The last part is longevity. And in my opinion, I think breakfast is great because when you talk about going to work all day, when you talk about having enough energy, one of the best things that you can do for your day is to start off with some protein and fiber. That's going to give you so much energy to stay full throughout the day and be able to tackle and stay productive with whatever you're doing. So here's the findings. In the end, the best is to have a high protein, high fiber diet. And it seems like from the ones that we looked at, there's nothing that can really trump that. However, there are some really good takeaways here. For example, from the Mediterranean diet, it just shows you how good it is to eat whole foods and the health benefits that come to that. Number 2 is the carnivore diet. When you talk about having enough protein, protein is so good, not only from a muscle building standpoint, but also it helps keep you full. And also red meat is great for you. And then the last one is intermittent fasting. And intermittent fasting does have some positives. And specifically, it talks about how you shouldn't be grazing throughout the whole day. You should have times where you're not eating. And that's why something that I teach all my clients is to have balanced meals throughout the day. You shouldn't be snacking all the time. Have a good breakfast, have a good lunch, and have a great dinner where you're having enough protein and fiber in each one to keep you full throughout the day, so you're not constantly craving anything or you're not feeling hungry all the time. So if you're trying to lose weight, here's a quick summary. Eat whole foods, don't be snacking throughout the day, and make sure you have enough protein and fiber. And if you complement that with some exercise, you can gain muscle and lose fat at the same time. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe for more, and go be your best. Peace.